All right, this time we're going to do it from a slightly front 3/4 angle. Let's go to this one actually. So notice the egg shape here, and we're going to draw just a center line for the egg shape and kind of sneak in a little wireframe. Okay, and then in this kind of bottom fifth of it, that's where we're going to draw a line all the way across, kind of wrapping around. And that center line that we put over on the egg, we're going to bring that all the way down. That's representing this line over here. Knowing that this line is going to be where the cheekbone is, we're going to have that C shape here. And then the other C shape there, which is going to give us where the eye is. You can kind of have the reverse C shape there. We're also going to just kind of build on top of that the parts of the rest of the skull. So this part is going to come forward, then backward, then forward again for the chin. And then kind of that magnet horseshoe shape goes there. And a line there for the skull. Or I'm sorry, the mouth. Right. So this is just a very basic version of what we're about to do. You kind of see what it looks like this. Let's go ahead and turn that off. New layer. And we're going to do an egg shape. We're looking up at it. So there's going to be a center line coming in like that. And we can kind of do another center line this way on the horizontal axis. And maybe a quick wireframe so that we can kind of get a feel for the actual perspective. And in this given area, if we divide this into fourths or fifths, this line is the one we're going to use as the guide for where the cheekbone is. Again, it's not halfway, it's just below. Let's lower the opacity on that. And it's going to curve around like this. And it's going to go past the actual sphere itself because that's where the cheekbone is going to be. And this center line, we're going to bring it all the way down. It doesn't matter how far, we can cut that off later. And then about halfway, I know this is going to be a little bit tricky if you haven't practiced enough perspective, but the halfway line over here is the halfway line on the side, and that's where the cheek, not the cheek, the jaw will start. So we can kind of just draw a straight line down there, and then we get the nice horseshoe shape coming out forward. And you can kind of connect that. And if you carefully study these shapes and carefully construct them over and over again, it won't be such a difficult task to kind of draw things in different perspectives. You know, in this case, we're kind of doing it with a bit of 3D and 2D understanding. So the 3D being the form of that kind of egg shape, but also mixing it with 2D shapes like kind of the C shape here, right? And that's kind of what that is. And we're simplifying it. We could actually, from this angle, kind of just simplify another shape like that to kind of represent where the cheekbone is. And notice how it kind of creates a relationship where we have a C shape for this part of the cranium, and then another reverse C shape, but it creates a nice little funnel shape, right? You can almost fit an arrow in there. And then the other C shape for the eye. So this is what I mean by learning the 2D shapes. So you have the 3D form, but also 2D graphic shapes that you kind of use to your advantage. And so you can kind of imagine if we complete that all the way around. Just real quick. You can get a kind of indication of, you know, the skull there. C shape is a little bit far back. Needs to be more forward. And then another shape like this. We could sort of do that on the other side, but we'll be drawing over it. But yeah, that kind of gives us where this eye will go. And this eye will be covered by the nasal cavity in a moment. Let's kind of just sneak in a little brow ridge, that little bump there, right? And if this is going a little bit too fast, feel free to pause it, kind of make sure you're caught up with whatever you're seeing on the screen. Also, it might help to just watch and digest the information rather than trying to follow along every time. So maybe watch it, understand it, and then follow along a little bit more slowly by actually drawing. All right. So this navel cavity, the mistake would be to put it here, right? And we might think that we should do that because if we have the eyes or the orbitals, and then you have the nose cavity here and stuff, and that makes sense from the front view, but for the front 3/4, it's actually offset. So it's not here, it's more forward this way and here. And then we can kind of just draw a wireframe of the rest of the forms there. And kind of fill that in. And again, this part comes forward and then in and then a little bit forward again for the chin. So we're going to kind of imply that at that center line. So a little bit forward and in and then forward again for the chin. The kind of cylindrical barrel of the mouth here is really important to get right. So we're going to just put a nice little ellipse there, or a curve. And I'm going to just sneak in some shapes there for the cheekbones. And it's not super accurate because if we kind of put it on top of there, obviously we're doing different sizes and proportions. We're just borrowing the information and simplifying it. Because if you can't simplify it, then you can't possibly do it as super complex. So do simple first and then complex. I mean, I'm sure if you took your time and carefully, copied it, it would look fine. But my intent here isn't to show you how to copy something, but it's to show you how to internalize the information, the forms, the wireframe, the 2D graphic shapes, how they relate to each other. And it'll make your sketches so much more informed and much easier too. All right. So we're going to keep going, sketch a whole bunch of these. And then once we have a couple of these and we've internalized some of the forms, we're going to sketch them without looking at the reference. And you can, of course, follow along.